Are the D-backs a wagon? You're goddamn right they are. Welcome on into the PHNXDbacks podcast right here on PHNX, right?
That's where we are. Yes.
Because I'm so excited. We were at Chase Field earlier and we were watching Zac Gallen deal. And of course, we watched the Arizona Diamondbacks take their second game in a row against these Colorado Rockies. And they really kind of beat up on them tonight. 5-1 was the final score in that game. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I am your mayor of PHNX. This is Jesse Friedman. He's your vice mayor and also your thunderstick.
You're getting your voice back, Derek.
One day at a time.
One day
slowly.
at a time.
I'm still not drinking alcohol, and I don't know if I'll ever drink alcohol ever again after my weekend in Las Vegas. But I did enjoy watching the Diamondbacks there, and I very much enjoyed watching them here so far. Zac Gallen, very good tonight on the mound. The Diamondbacks offense kind of did everything that we needed them to do. We saw them actually manufacture some runs tonight. They pulled out the boomsticks early and got some home runs early, and it was just a really well-rounded game for them. It felt like everybody did their part.
Yeah, just a really complete game all the way around for the D-backs, which is something we haven't necessarily seen all that much of in recent days. It's felt like the games that the D-backs are winning, the offense maybe goes silent for a number of innings, and the bullpen is left kind of on their heels at the end of the game trying to protect a slim lead. But in this game, the D-backs bullpen did give up the one run, but a 5-1 win, a nice clean victory all the way around for the Diamondbacks. And yeah, Zac Gallen was good. He did not look good, frankly, for the first few innings. Fair. It kind of felt like Zac Gallen was still stuck in this funk that he's been in for a while now. Zac Gallen, for a number of starts, really, you could make a case pretty much this entire month of May. Zac Gallen just hasn't really looked like himself out there, and he's been operating without his best stuff for what feels like a majority of his starts this season. It looked that way early, but toward the end of this outing for him in those last couple of innings, he had a stretch where he struck out 4 out of 6 batters at one point in this game. He also had 15 whiffs in this game at the end of the day. And suddenly a start that didn't look great for Gallen early on turns into a pretty typical Zac Gallen outing. 6 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Excellent stuff there. And the D-backs were good today in every facet of the game, and they come away with a big win.
There's something interesting that Torey Lovullo said before the game in relation to Zac Gallen and him being asked about Zac Gallen getting back on track. He referenced his last outing where he went 5 2/3 innings and basically said, had the bullpen not blown it, Gavin Ginkel, I believe, gave up the 2 runs.
Yeah,
that would have been a scoreless outing for Zac. And Torey also said that he very much regretted not leaving Zac in the game to get the final out in that particular one, even though Zac was already, I believe, over 100 pitches or very close to 100 pitches.
Close to 100,
and it would have required him to go over 100 pitches in order to get that final out. But I think he feels like Gallen could have handled that and probably, wants to give Gallen the chance to clean up his own, mess a bit rather than letting the bullpen try to do so. But he was right, though. What he said about Zac was actually very fair. Zac Gallen is so good that even when he has an outing that we would consider to be a good outing for someone like Tommy Henry or Ryan Nelson, we say, what's wrong with Zac Gallen? And that's what we were saying early on, because even though he was being effective, the Rockies were hitting the ball quite hard. They were hitting it to the warning track a few times. Like, there wasn't really, it wasn't like he was really fooling anybody. It felt like they had a good game plan about jumping on Gallen early in the count and trying to make something happen.
Yeah.
But man, Gallen really He really just kind of settled in there in the middle innings, especially when the Diamondbacks kind of need him to go a little bit long and help this bullpen continue to rest up like Dre Jameson did in the last game. But man, Gallen was very good as the game went on. I mean, like 15 whiffs or something like that?
Yeah, 15 whiffs by the end of this game. 6 on the curveball, 3 on the changeup, 2 on the cutter, 4 on the four-seam fastball. He really had pretty much everything working when this game was over, and the offense got him an early lead too. Yeah. That was another key in maybe helping him settle down, even though he was a little all over the place early in this game. The D-backs put up 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Ketel Marte hits a solo home run on one of the first pitches that he sees, but sort of a bizarre home run, only 92 miles an hour off the bat down the left field line, clanked the foul pole, which I personally am kind of obsessed with doink home runs, as we like to call them.
Great. It was such a weird home run. It was 92 mile per hour exit velo, and it just didn't look like it was going to make it. It looked like it was going to kind of drift foul, or maybe it wasn't going to make it even as far as it did. But yeah.
Ketel against lefties, man. The man has some serious power in that swing.
Ketel against Kyle Freeland and Evan Longoria, which I got to give a credit to the Arizona Diamondbacks PR staff, because they actually had this note in the media guide today. Entering the game, Ketel Marte is hitting .324 against Kyle Freeland, and Evan Longoria is hitting .306. Evan with 2 home runs, Ketel also with 2 home runs, and then both of those guys that they mentioned homered off of Kyle Freeland there in the first inning. So that was great.
Granted, some of those games were obviously played in Coors Field. If you're hitting against Kyle Freeland, you're going to be playing in a friendly environment.
You have to add qualifiers to it for the people.
Yes, you're absolutely right. They've had their success against Kyle Freeland, and Evan Longoria's home run was not a wall scraper.
No, it was not.
I think that was well up into the 450s. I think 456 feet, which seems to be kind of a thing for Evan Longoria. When Evan Longoria gets one, he really gets one. Yeah. It feels like all of his homers have been in the 440, 450 range. I know a lot of people have been not so happy with Longoria's performance of late and wondering if maybe he should be a guy who the Diamondbacks should consider moving on from. I don't know if you can do that, Derek. Nah. He's a pretty important part of this lineup against lefties right now.
And he's been very good. So has Ketel. And the offense really just got them off to such a nice start for Zac Gallen. But Zac Gallen might not have needed it. He might not have even needed that much offense, really, when it comes down to it. Another scoreless outing for Zac, and he has been extremely good at home. And when I say extremely, I mean he literally has the best ERA at home in all of baseball. Entering tonight's game, Zac Gallen had a 0.77 home ERA. After tonight's game, Zac Gallen has a 0.66 ERA. He is 6-0 at home. Those are a lot of 6s in a row. We don't like that. But he even entered the game with a 0.66 whip. So I'm terrified right now. But he's just been incredible at Chase Field. The splits were kind of surprising. Jesse and I,
I was not aware of that.
When we saw that, we did not know that Zac Gallen's bad performances have all basically been on the road for the most part. But that is the case. And Gallen just continues to be excellent at Chase Field.
Yeah, he came in with a 5.40 ERA on the road, which kind of blew my mind. I mean, of course, there was this start in Pittsburgh, right, which kind of made that number blow up in and of itself. But yeah, Gallen had pretty sharp splits coming into this game. I don't really read too much into that necessarily at this stage in the season. But I mean, Zac Gallen at home has been a recipe for success for the Diamondbacks, and it absolutely was that again today. On the offensive side of things, Derek, I think a lot of people really had fun with this game. The D-backs kind of got back to the identity that they had early in the season of creating chaos on the base paths, letting their speed do work for them. Jake McCarthy had a couple of infield hits in this game. He also stole a couple of bases. Corbin Carroll also stole a couple of bases in this game. It's a brand of baseball that I think this fan base has very much embraced. And it's fun, right? I mean, it's really fun the way that the Diamondbacks are able to win games.
Yeah.
And I mean, at one point in this game, Corbin Carroll walks to lead off an inning, steals second, steals third, scores on a sacrifice fly that was relatively shallow. Those are the kinds of things that speed can manufacture for you, and the D-backs took full advantage of that today.
Jake grounded out essentially, and he beats out the ground out.
Well, one of those he did not beat out, but
yeah, that's true.
Bud Black inexplicably did not challenge.
He was out by a mile, but anyway, he still turned an actual out into a single and then a double with the stolen base, and that's something that we've discussed in the past, the Diamondbacks not creating that chaos. And it worked, man. I mean, I felt like everybody in the building knew Corbin Carroll was going to steal second, and he still did it. And then third, that seemed very similar too. Like it felt like he just knew he was going to go for it, and there wasn't much the Rockies could do to stop it.
Elias Diaz is one of the best back there. If you
second best.
Well, actually, so coming into this game, we've talked about StatCast's new metric that basically measures how good catchers are at throwing guys out. It's like catcher throwing runs above average, essentially. And coming into this game, Gabby Moreno and Elias Diaz were tied for first in that metric. And today, Elias Diaz is probably going to take a little bit of a hit there because he was 0 for 4. And frankly, only one of those was actually close. I think the D-backs were sort of reading the Rockies pitchers like a book in some instances. I don't know if that was necessarily Diaz's fault so much, but yeah, I mean, having Jake McCarthy back in the majors, it allows you to be able to lean into that part of the identity that the Diamondbacks have all the more. With Josh Rojas not really hitting all that much, and with McCarthy down in Reno for a while there, it felt like the D-backs just didn't really steal that many bases. It wasn't really something that they did.
That speed to do that, right?
But McCarthy really brings that in a big way.
And there's something to also be said about McCarthy's defense. We kind of made a crack at Pavin, which was totally he was just an innocent bystander in our tweets. But it was a really impressive play by Jake. And honestly, it was a play that few of their outfielders, forget even just Pavin, few of their outfielders could have made. Required a lot of speed. It was a diving catch. He just did a great job at it. It's Jake McCarthy, once again, I've said it before, is like Christian Walker over at first base. He just does things in a kind of unspectacular way, but he still makes these spectacular plays that just make you used to him being over there. You get used to his defense over there. And then when someone else is playing right field, you can kind of see how good Jake actually is. And same thing with Christian Walker at first. Sometimes when they don't have Christian there, you realize very quickly how great he is defensively.
All the times that Christian is not there, you realize how great he is defensively. The difference, it's no knock on Pavin or whoever's over there necessarily. It's just Christian Walker really is spectacular.
He is just awesome. And I think Evan Anderson said, how about Moreno being 3 for 3 on stolen bases? Let's go. Gabby can do everything.
He's sneaky fast, man. He stole third yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Moreno has above average sprint speed, which is something that you don't obviously see very often in catchers, but it's part of the reason the Diamondbacks liked him so much. He is one of the more athletic catchers that you will ever see in this game. And yeah, I mean, when you have Dave McKay, helping out with the run game, anyone can steal bases, right? And Gabby Moreno's speed is certainly good enough for him to be able to do that.
I mean, even bringing up Dave McKay and what Dave McKay contributes to this team, that was something that was missing from this team last year, along with a lot of other things that didn't go right for them. Yet this season, it feels like things are just falling in the right direction for them. This team is starting to run on all cylinders, which again, it's something that's been impressive that they've been able to win like they have this season without getting that. They've always kind of had one area that kind of falters, and it's felt like there's been very few games like this one that we can say was a very complete game for this team. It was just an all-around win. Of course, though, the man that led the way is Zac Gallen, and he is our king snake. We don't have a fancy vest to give him, but we have this cool graphic that we make. And of course, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts. And most of those strikeouts happened, I believe, in like the final 2 innings of work, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. He really, those last couple of innings was like, okay, this is starting to look like Zac Gallen again. And frankly, we haven't seen it in a while, right? There was a start in Pittsburgh. There was his last start in Philly where he was all right. I think he was kind of fighting it. Like we talked about earlier, if I think it was Kevin Ginkel didn't come in and give up a couple of inherited runners and allow those guys to score, then the box score numbers would have actually looked pretty good in that outing. But Gallen has really been operating without his best stuff for the majority of the season, as far as I'm concerned. It seems like every game there's been one pitch that just wasn't really there for him, or maybe multiple pitches that weren't there for him. Today, early in the game, it was sort of like nothing was really there for Zac Gallen. He walked the first batter of the game on 5 pitches. There was quite a bit of hard contact early on. It just didn't seem like he was effective.
By the way, has like a 39-game on-base streak, like the entire season.
Yeah, he has like a 720 OPS. So I guess he's just like spaced them out extremely well. But yeah, early in the game, the curveball was reasonably effective. He was able to get a couple of early whiffs on that pitch, but the changeup wasn't really there. The four-seamer wasn't really there. It didn't have as much ride as we're used to seeing. He was leaning on the cutter kind of a lot at that point in the game. So it looked rough. It looked like kind of another grinder for Zac Gallen early. And then once he got to the 5th or 6th inning, it was like, all right, I think Zac Gallen is kind of figured it out. And hopefully next start, we're able to see Zac Gallen have all of his pitches from the get-go. And when this guy has all of his pitches going, we've only seen it a few times this year, in my opinion, maybe only one time this year. He is one of the best pitchers in the game, if not the best pitcher in the game. There's so much more that he can give this D-backs team, as hard as it is to believe, than what he's given them so far this season.
Another couple of important facts here. The Diamondbacks only used 3 relief pitchers now, I believe, in the last 2 games. Did Drake close out the game?
Andrew Chafin got the last out.
So there's 4, right? So we got the 4 pitchers, but Andrew Chafin only pitched against 1 batter.
Yeah, the bullpen is in good shape. That's a good point.
Which they haven't been for quite a while, right? It feels like the bullpen's kind of been taxed nonstop for the last few weeks. So it's great for them to get this break, especially during a time where the Diamondbacks also have some off days mixed in there. So hopefully everybody can get some rest and get right. But this team is now the 2nd best team in the National League, thanks to the Oakland A's inexplicably beating up on the Braves in the first 2 games of their series, because of course they did.
Did you doubt the A's against the Braves, Derek?
Not for a minute, Jesse. I knew it was going to go. I'm rooted in Oakland, just like they are for the next few months.
We do. Can I throw Talkin' Jake under the bus real quick?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to do that? Friend of the show.
Oh, sure, please do that.
Friend of the show, Talkin' Jake from John Boy. A couple days ago, some of you might have seen Talkin' Jake gave out grades through the first 50 games or so of the season. He gave out grades to every team in the league, and he gave the Atlanta Braves, I believe it was an A- instead of a B+, specifically because he made the assumption that because they were about to play the A's for 3 games, it was going to be a clean sweep. And because of that, I was like, all right, let's just bake those wins into their record and factor that into our grades right now. When in reality, the first 2 games of that series had both gone to the Oakland A's. So Talkin' Jake, man, just continues to be wrong about quite a few things, including this Diamondbacks team, who he on this very show said the Diamondbacks would win 73 games. But we still love Talkin' Jake nonetheless, right?
Do we? Well, we need to get back on here so we can roast him some more. Speaking of roasting, Jesse and I, we did some roasting, we did some cooking, we've done some grilling.
Oh, yeah.
And that's with our friends at Omaha Steaks, by the way. I received Omaha Steaks as a Christmas gift this year from my in-laws. And let me tell you, as whatever you might think of that, getting a box of steaks is the greatest present any person can receive. I don't care who you are. You always have a need for steaks, and maybe not vegetarians or vegans. Those are a different class. The rest of us meat eaters, there's few things you can get that's better than a box of steaks, and that's exactly what Omaha Steaks is offering. The gift for the person that has everything, including Jesse Friedman over here, who's very difficult to shop for. Very finicky. He's got a very high class taste. It's hard to get things that are in my price range so I can buy Jesse. But Jesse made the hell out of some pork chops and some filet mignon.
I did. Yeah, I'm not much of a chef to be fully transparent. But
no,
I really impressed myself today, Derek. I had no idea what I was doing while I was making these pork chops.
Let's go.
And afterwards, I was like, oh my gosh. I don't know if it's that I just cooked them really well, or more likely that Omaha Steaks are just really good, and it's kind of impossible for me to, impossible for someone like me to mess them up. But yeah, I had some filet mignon the other day from Omaha Steaks with a few friends, which was also outstanding.
So you cooked for other people?
No, I had one of my friends do it. I don't trust myself that much.
He barely cooks for himself, let alone would I imagine him cooking for other people. But Omaha Steaks does make it easy for you. And with Father's Day right around the corner, put a smile on your dad's face with Omaha Steaks. Again, I don't care who you are, to get the gift of steaks is a great gift. If you're into that sort of thing, like eating meat. Head over to omahasteaks.com and use promo code PHNXDbacks at checkout, and you will get $30 off your qualifying order. They got bacon wrapped filet mignon. They have air chilled boneless chicken breasts, burgers, franks, everything you need for your summer barbecues. And let me tell you, the caramel apple tartlets are not to be slept on. They are incredible.
I haven't tried those yet. I'm really excited.
Truth
be told, I didn't know what that was.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Oh, they're fantastic. But I guess whether he's your father, your father-in-law, or just a father figure in your life, the way that like Torey Lovullo is for me, he's the guy who's always ready to step up when you needed him the most. And of course, that's definitely Lovullo for me and Jesse. This Father's Day, show them love with the only gift that's as unforgettable as they are, the mouth-watering perfection of Omaha Steaks. From perfectly aged, oh-so-tender steaks to hand-selected gift package, Omaha Steaks makes it easy to give Dad what he really wants. Order today and again, get that $30 off with promo code PHNXDbacks. And every purchase is backed by their unconditional money-back guarantee. If you don't love those steaks, you contact them and they will refund you for that order. Go to omahasteaks.com. Once again, enter PHNXDbacks for $30 off. Minimum order may be required. See site for details. Of course, if you guys are right here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, know that we love you and we absolutely would cook steaks for you if you came over to our house. We thank you for being here. Make sure to subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of our shows go live. And if you're listening on the audio podcasting side, I once again apologize for my voice. And I appreciate you guys listening on your favorite device. Please subscribe there if you haven't done so already. And leave us a review. We always appreciate the feedback. Also, if you haven't gotten yourself a Diehards membership yet, don't wait. Go get it now over at gophnx.com. Not only do you get a free piece of merchandise from the phnxlocker.com and 20% off all future purchases, you'll also get a free $50 voucher to Mountain Mike's, which practically pays for the entire membership right there in itself. You'll also get members-only discounts on our events, members-only discount or invites to some events, members-only invites to certain pieces of merchandise, and so much more. Also, our Discord lounge is the best place to be an Arizona sports fan, and you get Jesse's newsletter Full Count, which is every baseball fan's dream, is to get all of Jesse's content. You can do that with the Die Hard membership today. So go to gophnx.com, sign up, and become part of the family. Yes, the Arizona Diamondbacks are a wagon. We've confirmed that. They are the second best team in the National League. The numbers prove that. But the biggest, most important thing we need to talk about on this show is that the Arizona Diamondbacks have a victory vest. The home run snake is dead, and we've confirmed that. But the victory
in brutal
vest,
fashion,
the
no
victory
less.
vest is well alive. Let's take a look. We got Dre Jameson sporting the victory vest here. Tonight we had Evan Longoria, the master of the. Look at how handsome that guy looks in that, right? Like he looks like oh man, I don't even know what to say. He looks like he's gonna battle Michael Jackson in a street fight in a music video from the '80s. I love it. I don't understand what caused them to choose a victory vest.
It's pretty random.
It's pretty random, right? But we also saw that the Detroit Tigers have a hockey celebration where they put on a helmet and shoot a slap shot. So all bets are off when it comes to these celebrations, folks. Torey Lovullo gave us a little insight. Apparently, the owner, the provider of the victory vest, the culprit, that's even better, is my hair twin, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. And here's what Torey had to say about this victory vest and all of these celebrations they've been trying to do.
Oh, that's good. I saw it yesterday for the first time, right? Yeah, you can go back into my the 1980 version of my my apparel and probably find something in that part of that garage for sure. I love that stuff. I have a funny feeling that Gurriel was responsible for it. I don't know who put that together, but I love that stuff. Dre put it on yesterday, and I usually wait in the dugout. I'm usually the last one back in the clubhouse after the game. I wait in the dugout for the entire team to evacuate it, go in, and I saw that going on Dre, and he wore it well. I'll just be curious to see what happens if like Zac Gallen gets it. You know, he doesn't seem like it's going to fit him that well, first of all, and he's a pretty humble guy. So I think everybody's in on it. It's pretty good, a lot of fun.
Why would you think it's Gurriel that would create
Because he had the biggest smile on his face when everybody's coming out of the dugout and into the clubhouse, and I greet everybody going back into the clubhouse, and he was yucking it up, and I'm like, "You had something to do with this?" And he's like, "I don't know, I don't know."
That I don't know at the end.
He's like trying to do it in Lourdes' voice.
I love it so much. But yeah, man, I mean, this stuff is so much fun. And I think that we were very excited about that. Gabriel brings up Torrey wearing a Lourdes t-shirt. He also, when we talked to him about it, pointed to me, which I don't know why you would do that. I don't know in what way I'm attached to Lourdes and his purple
We
hair.
haven't confirmed that the alleged Lourdes shirt in the team shop is actually Lourdes and not Derek.
That could be me and some Shady Rays for sure.
Who's to say?
Who's to say? But it doesn't matter because the Diamondbacks are very good. They're very fun to watch. We did, in fact, find out, according to Josh Rojas, of all people, that the home run snake is dead and that they cut the tongue out of it and pinned it to the wall. I don't know if he meant that metaphorically or if they really, as a team, got together and cut out this poor stuffed snake's tongue, this snuff snake that did nothing to them. The snake did not hit home runs, right? It only got to be worn by Evan Longoria, so it's fitting that he's also in the vest here tonight. I also really wanted Zac Gallen to be the recipient of the vest after what Torrey Lovullo said there, because I wanted to see how that would go down. It's going to be interesting if Zac Gallen has a really good game.
Yeah.
To see if we see him in the vest. He might just refuse the vest. It just might be something he's not going to do. The vest seems to go on whoever does the on-field interview for Bally's, though, right? That's the key. So Zac Gallen, he's not going to be able to escape that vest for long, buddy.
Well, I should know this. Maybe you do. I don't think they interview the starting pitcher on the field after games on TV. I don't think
Unless
they
ever
got
do
a
that. Complete game, right?
Yeah,
like
maybe
Merrill Kelly, I think, did or something like that.
Maybe in that instance they would, but otherwise, I think the starting pitcher just goes and showers, and we don't. No media member talks to the starting pitcher until after the game ends, which theoretically would mean that the vest can only be worn by, I guess, relievers like Dre Jameson yesterday, or more likely a position player like we saw today with Evan Longoria. So we'll have to continue to monitor that situation.
Charles Woodall Pike said the home run snake walked so the victory vest could run. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Rest in peace, home run snake.
It's very poetic.
Yeah. I'd like the head so we could mount it here in the studio.
Wow.
I'm saying, if it's been discarded and had its tongue cut out, I'll take the head. We'll mount it on a little plaque behind us. Whatever we need to do to keep this ball rolling, because the Arizona Diamondbacks are very, very good. And when we talk about what the actual good luck charm has been for this team, it's been their fantastic players. It's been Zac Gallen. It's been Corbin Carroll. It's been Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who has the highest OPS and the highest slugging percentage of any player in baseball in the month of May. These guys have...
It's pretty... maybe caveat there. It's close.
Oh, it's close. It might have gone down tonight, right?
Freddie Freeman is right up there with him. Juan Soto is right up there with him.
Let's say entering
close.
play tonight, he had the highest OPS and the highest.
I think that's true.
Yeah, it is. That part is true, but that might have changed because, of course, Lourdes tussled my hair and then went 0 for 4. So.
Is the magic gone, Derek?
You can't touch. You can't like.
Did he make a mistake? Did he break the bond somehow?
I don't know, but I will say he's still very good. I'm sure he'll still continue to be good. But Zac Gallen might be back, especially with what we saw in the second half of this game. Corbin Carroll is absolutely back and just absolutely adding.
I don't know if Corbin Carroll ever really went anywhere in the first place. But
he just took a little break from that kney injury, and they were
Corbin Carroll goes
him.
0 for 4, and the next day he gets 2 hits. You're like, oh, Corbin Carroll's back.
He's back, baby.
I mean, the numbers that Corbin Carroll is putting up right now, frankly, I mean, 285, an 894 OPS. He stole 2 bases in this game and is up to 16. His pace for the year, Derek, we've played almost exactly 1/3 of the season. You can basically just take his numbers today and multiply him by 3. That would put him at 27 home runs, and it would put him at 48 stolen bases, which is an absolutely... I mean, you're not just talking about like, a nice rookie of the year, potentially rookie of the year winning season.
Yeah.
You're talking about one of the best years that a rookie has had, certainly in Diamondbacks history, I think by far, and in baseball as well. Like this is incredible what Corbin Carroll is doing. I don't think we necessarily are shocked that he is this good of a player or that he has become this good of a player, but I am maybe a little surprised that there haven't been a few more bumps in the road in order to get here. I mean, he was good last year in like 30 games, getting fairly inconsistent playing time, and he's come in this year and he is vastly improved at basically everything. He is striking out less than he did last year. He's walking more than he did last year. He's hitting the ball way harder than he did last year, and he's stealing more bases than he did last year. He's being more aggressive on the base paths. So what we're seeing from Corbin Carroll is just absolutely incredible. And I think a lot of people are buying into this D-backs team, not just because of the record, but because there's this 22-year-old kid who is one of the most exciting young players in the sport right now. And that's really marketable, right? The D-backs have a young player who is a young position player who is extremely marketable once again. And that's something this franchise hasn't had in a while.
Well, and I mean, to be honest, I know that we haven't gotten that same level of consistency, but it's not just him. It is not just him. There's a lot of excitement around Perdomo, Moreno, and like the thing about a lot of these guys, Jake McCarthy, all these guys are around the same age. They're all around the same point in their development. And I mean, honestly, the Diamondbacks have a core here that is really, really fun to watch. And I mean, like I said, Corbin might not be the only marketable one, but there is something about him that just has this superstar aura to him, not his attitude, not the way he acts or carries himself. It's just watching him play this game. He's kind of lived up to everything we've heard from people internally with the organization. There's just this talk that Corbin Carroll has a different level of dedication than anybody they've seen at his age.
Sure.
And I mean, that's reflected by his actions. When we talked about him getting injured, and he spent time with scouts learning the game better and picking up any way while he wasn't able to physically get better at the game, doing it in a mental way or doing it in a cerebral way where he's learning more about this game and learning more about just everything when it comes to baseball. He's just a student of the game. What we're seeing now is it translate onto the field at a major league level and just like a player that absolutely can change the game for a team like the Diamondbacks that have struggled at times to manufacture runs, that have struggled at times to do things to get like the offense rolling when it's not when your bats aren't super hot or when you're not driving it out of the ballpark every single night. Corbin Carroll is that kind of player, but he's also driving it out of the ballpark all the time. Like Jesse said, he's on pace for nearly 30 home runs and nearly 50 stolen bases. That's crazy. Those are video game numbers. Those are numbers that don't even make sense for a player that's in his first year as a major league ball player.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Derek, when I play video games, 20 homers and 40 stolen bases, that's child's play. I mean, let's be real here, right? And anyone who's done Road to the Show,
you talk so much about ping pong, and then I watched you lose left and right. I have no faith in you anymore.
I'm with you, Jesse. That's an easy 35 bombs your rookie year.
I mean, if
58 your second year.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if anyone is like doing Road to the Show and they only have like 25 homers and 45 stolen bases, then they're probably like turning the level down because they're frustrated. No, Corbin Carroll has been here I am like trying to put down Corbin Carroll's performance because of a video game. No, it's incredible. And to your point earlier, the D-backs do have, I think, a lot of marketable young position players for sure. What sets Corbin Carroll apart is that, I mean, he's a star, right? I mean, the way that he's performed so far, and granted it is still very early in his career, but he's an absolute star from day one, right? Yeah. And I think some of the other guys in this mix, the D-backs really might have a nice young core forming here, but there might be a few more bumps and bruises along the way for some of those other guys. Sure. Whereas Corbin Carroll has just come into the big leagues, and I mean, it's like his numbers from Reno are basically just translating directly to the majors, which is not at all normal.
When it comes to every rookie, every young player, because we've seen that so far, you've seen some big names that were highly touted rookies already being sent down. Like sometimes and I said this yesterday, the idea there is to not want to sacrifice wins to give, a younger guy playing time, but you also don't want that young player not getting reps. You don't want them not getting better every single day. And if they ride the pine on a major league team, they're not going to get better. That's the reason a lot of times that the Diamondbacks are sending these guys down, even though it seems like maybe in some cases they might pull the trigger a little too quick. The team is competitive right now, and they can't sacrifice that. They can't have guys that are struggling trying to figure it out when they potentially have somebody that could play much better in that position. I guess that's the thing that the Diamondbacks have had this season is they've had backups. They've had guys that can come in and step up when, basically the players they chose at the beginning of the season to be their starters haven't necessarily worked out. And Jesse said, there have been a lot of struggles this season with a lot of the guys that are that young core, with Alec Thomas, with Jake McCarthy. I mean, even when you talk about Ketel over at second base, his defense this year has been great, but Ketel's had some struggles there defensively, and we've seen Perdomo, have a really good season, but they've also tried to move him around, give him some time at second base, give him some time at third, get him in there as much as possible. But I want to give credit to the bullpen a bit here. I think the Diamondbacks bullpen definitely takes a lot of flack, and they deserve it at times, but they've been playing very well lately, and the Diamondbacks have kind of figured out who those key guys are. We've talked about them sifting through the options and trying to figure out which guys Lovullo can rely on a nightly basis, and it feels like they've kind of done that now at this point with the bullpen they currently have on the roster.
Yeah. Things have definitely come together over the last few weeks since May 8th. That's about 3 weeks ago. This is coming into this game, doesn't include this game. The bullpen had a 2.85 ERA. I mean, that's pretty darn good over a 3-week stretch. And what you've seen happen is the D-backs have they've made a few roster moves, and they've kind of narrowed in on the relievers that are maybe going to be getting the bulk of the innings down the stretch. You think about Dre Jameson being back in the fold and what he brings to the table. Andrew Chafin, Miguel Castro, of course, Scott McGough, another good outing today. He's really pitching well lately.
It was the Scott McGough revenge game, according to Damon Dog, our producer.
Yeah, I guess there you go.
Yeah, Scott McGough put on a show tonight.
And
have you guys seen that?
His last MLB team was, in fact,
the Colorado Rockies. Revenge game. Scott McGough hates the Rockies. Certified Rockies.
He hasn't forgotten them letting him go 7 years ago.
Never forget.
Scott McGough has pitched really well for the D-backs lately. Then you've got Kyle Nelson, right? A steady presence. Kevin Ginkel, I know he got dinged for the home run today, but he's been a pretty solid option out of the bullpen overall. Jose Ruiz is maybe a guy that a little bit hit or miss. He's certainly had some nice moments, but he's had some not so nice moments as well. Joe Mantiply is only a few days left, or a few days away from what we can tell from getting back to the big leagues. And then Austin Adams is the other member of that bullpen, at least as of right now. And he's pitched pretty well. I mean, it's only been a few games, but I think you like what you see there from a stuff standpoint. So it has the makings of being kind of like an average-ish bullpen, which is an enormous improvement over what this organization has had in recent years. And of course, at the trade deadline, if the D-backs are still in the mix as they are right now, they would very likely add to that. And maybe at that point, they have an above-average bullpen, which would be a huge asset for this team.
As far as the season goes, their bullpen ERA still is right in the middle of the pack. They're not in the bottom 10 teams of baseball. So the bullpen has been not terrible this year, but lately it really feels like it's locking things down. Like the bullpen is really figuring itself out. The Diamondbacks have been able to, in the last couple of days, like I said, get them some relief, get them some time off so that some of those arms that they've been relying on entirely too much this season can get some rest. And that's the Chafins and the Castros, the few guys that have kind of been workhorses for this team. Joe Mantiply is a sight for sore eyes, and it's going to be great to have him back. He was the Diamondbacks' lone all-star representative last year, but I don't think that's going to be the case this year with the way this team is playing. At least Jesse might not think that's the case because Jesse wrote an article on the Diamondbacks being on track to be well represented in 2023 in the Major League, in the MLB All-Star Game. And honestly, Zac Gallen felt like a lock last year. But then he kind of struggled right before the All-Star break. Hopefully he's a lock this year because it seems like a crime for Zac Gallen to not have participated in the All-Star game yet.
Yeah, it's crazy. Zac Gallen, for as good as he's been in his big league career, has not been an All-Star. He probably would have been one in 2020, except, of course, that was the shortened season. They didn't even have an All-Star game that year. But yeah, maybe this is crazy making, Derek, but as I wrote about today, you can make a pretty good case that the Diamondbacks should have 6 All-Stars. if the, the All-Star game was tomorrow, which I know is bonkers. And yes, I know that in the fan vote, the Diamondbacks are not likely to do particularly well because, of course, it's sort of a popularity contest.
Remember the year the entire team was the Royals? Remember it was the whole Royals
Omar
team?
and Fonte and the whole thing. Yeah, yes, I do remember. But yeah, I don't know if the D-backs necessarily have a lot of guys who I would expect to start in the All-Star game. They have a lot of players who have a really strong case right now. Zac Gallen, especially with his outing today, I think is right in the thick of that. If the All-Star game was tomorrow, it would be a big mistake if Zac Gallen was not a member of that team. Merrill Kelly, with his outing on Sunday, is pretty close at this point. I don't know if it's a slam dunk necessarily, but you've got about 7 or 8 spots for starting pitchers on the roster. I think you could make a pretty good case that Merrill Kelly is one of the 7 or 8 best starting pitchers in the NL right now. Lourdes Gurriel, I think, I know he went 0 for 3 today, but his numbers for the season, absolutely. He's one of the best 6 or 7 outfielders in the National League. He should definitely make it. Corbin Carroll, we've already talked a bunch about him. There's really no question there at this point.
Sam Brennan in the chat said a little bit farther up there that the
his Ichiro comparison.
The Corbin Carroll and Ichiro similarities are eerie. The last player to win Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season, Ichiro. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
I think I would go Ichiro, obviously a generational type of plaer. So that's
he's Corbin's favorite player, Jesse.
That is also true. I think Corbin Carroll maybe has a little more power than Ichiro did. Ichiro not as strikeout prone as Corbin Carroll, so it's not exact, but I definitely see where you're coming from for sure. But yeah, beyond Corbin Carroll and Zac Gallen and Lourdes Gurriel and Merrill Kelly, Geraldo Perdomo, the All-Star game, as I wrote, it doesn't honor the guys with the prettiest baseball savant pages. It honors the guys who produced the most. And there's really no arguing that Geraldo Perdomo, if you look at shortstops in the National League, a lot of the big names have struggled. Trey Turner has struggled. Xander Bogaerts has been pretty good for the Padres, but probably not quite what they were looking for. Dansby Swanson, I think, has a good case to make the team from the Cubs, but Perdomo would probably be the other guy if the All-Star game was tomorrow. Of course,
it just feels like he's going to be limited by his at-bats and things like that.
Yeah, there are some knocks in that he has been sort of a platoon player, which I know makes a lot of people angry. And yes, Nick Ahmed did start once again today against a lefty, and I'm sure we'll have that conversation again soon. But yeah, if the All-Star game was tomorrow, if you're looking at the full body of work, there's really no question that Geraldo Perdomo would be deserving at shortstop. And then lastly, Ketel Marte. Derek, he homered today and kind of maybe further cemented his case a little bit. I wouldn't say it's a slam dunk at this point. Luis Ariz is almost certainly going to start at second base, or at least should start at second base for the National League. He is still hitting over 370. At least he was as of the start of play today. But after Ariz, the reserve spot in the National League is still very much up for grabs. You've got Tyro Estrada from the Giants having a good season. Jonathan India from the Reds. Jeff McNeil from the Mets maybe would be in the mix there as well. But I think Ketel Marte, especially after today, probably has as good of a case as any of those guys.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr.'s 374 average in the month of May is the highest by a D-back since A.J. Pollock in 2014.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that. A.J. Pollock hit higher than that?
375.
Wow.
In the month of May.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
A.J. Pollock had like some really good stints before getting injured and not being able to finish a season or do whatever.
Traitor.
Oh, yeah. Come on. Let's calm down over there. All right. Well, I will say this. The Diamondbacks have plenty of options when it comes to all-star voting. And there are a lot of good players on this team that deserve to be a part of this. So
you can vote tomorrow.
The voting starts tomorrow. Get out there. Diamondbacks have candidates for days. So make sure to we need to we're too fractured as a community, as Diamondbacks fans. We need to get together. We need to plan this. I know
we need to build a robot.
You don't punch out shads anymore, do you? I don't have to worry about this. Is all digital these days. It's been.
I kind of missed that, honestly.
Yeah,
there was something about like filling out the ballot and dropping it in the little box.
They had it at the ballpark. Yeah, it was great.
It was kind of part of the experience. But yeah, I think it's tomorrow at 9 a.m. the way they do it, I think it's the same as last year. There's 2 phases to the process, but all you really need to know is at the end of the day, fans vote on the starters, and then they don't vote on the reserves. So the D-backs will be subject to that sort of popularity thing with the starters, but they should be able to do well as long as players and coaches, do their homework and give the D-backs the credit that they deserve. Which at this point, there's really a lot of players who have a solid case right now.
If you are looking to get a good night's sleep, don't ask this guy, by the way, because he doesn't sleep.
No.
I texted him at 6:30 in the morning, expecting not to hear back from him for at least 3 hours. And there's Jesse just firing off responses right back to me. I was like, "What's going on?"
Well, you did hear back from me, and then you wouldn't have for another 3 hours because that was when I slept.
I shamed him. I told him
6:30
to
9:30 a.m. this morning. My sleep schedule is very extraordinarily messed up.
Yeah.
But why are we mocking my sleep schedule,
because
Derek? Where are we going with this?
If you're not careful, I'm going to slip you some Aquaberry OGs.
Oh, there we go.
And I'm going to get you a good night's
enough.
sleep. Because Aquaberry OGs are the way to get a great night's sleep. And OGs Brands has a wide variety of edibles for you to get wherever you need to go. Whether you're looking to have a great time in a social setting, or whether you just want to get the best night's sleep you ever had. Maybe you just want to be happy. Well, they have an edition for that. It's called the Happy Balance. They also have sleep edition gummies and everything else you need. Wide variety of dosage, strains, and flavors to choose from. They are all about the flavors. They have their fruits flavors, their creams. The pink lemonade flavor is dropping on June 21st. So don't miss out on any of this wonderful action that our friends at OG's Brands has to offer. Check out OG's online at ogsbrands.com and on Instagram at OG's Brands. You can also find their products at your local dispensary. Must be 21 years or older to purchase. And use responsibly. Also, if you haven't downloaded the BetMGM app, do so right now. We've teamed up with BetMGM this season, and we'll be using their lines for all of our picks. We have some special offers for our listeners each week, but of course, the best offer is every Saturday and every Wednesday. You can claim your bonus bet on the house. You will receive a bonus bet upon logging into your account. Bets expire after 72 hours, so don't dilly-dally. Bonus bets can only be used on any sport wagers. So get in there, make some money, and risk-free. It's not even your money that you're betting. You're betting MGM's money. By the way, we will be out there for our Knockout Nights Cornhole League. That will be this Friday. Jesse, not going to be there. Not featured. Doesn't want to play cornhole.
Everyone has to wait another month to see my incredible cornhole mastery.
I think he's just going to ditch us this whole time, but we will be there the first Friday of every month, so he can't hide for too long. We'll also have some food and beverage specials, giveaways, so much more. The event is free, so come on out and join us. We're going to have a great time. We'll be broadcasting this show live this Friday at 1 p.m., so join us out there at the BetMGM Sportsbook at State Farm Stadium. If you haven't signed up for the BetMGM yet, use bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on which state you live, but for our Arizona audience, you will get up to $100 in bonus bets on your first wager with BetMGM. Again, make sure you use bonus code PHNX. Check out the show notes for full details, and now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
Well, if you needed some more good news to go on top of tonight's win and Zac Gallen's performance and chaos being back on the base paths, Kristian Robinson played his first minor league baseball game in 1,366 days. And it could quite possibly be the greatest comeback in baseball history.
I mean, Derek, we were setting this up to be like this great moment, and then you like kind of over dramatize it, maybe a little bit.
1,300 days, Jesse. That's a long time.
It is an incredible comeback for Kristian Robinson, no doubt. He hit third. He played left field today for the Visalia Rawhide. A team that I've heard is very much in need of outfielders. Drew Jones is still on the injured list down there. So I think from a roster construction standpoint, this was very needed for them. But yeah, Robinson back in the minor leagues for the first time in nearly 4 years. And he went 2 for 4, Derek. A couple of singles in this game. He struck out in his first at bat, came back with a nice single in his second at bat and ended the game 2 for 4 with a couple of base hits.
Which we have video of. Here's Kristian Robinson's first single in a very, very long time.
Ready from the letters. The 1-1 pitch is poked into right field and down for a base hit. Fabian over to cut it off in the gap as Robinson is on at first with a 1-out single.
Gabriel in the chat says, huge credit to the D-backs for sticking by him. That's absolutely the case.
Yeah.
I mean, based on what occurred, there is a chance that an organization wasn't going to support somebody like that as much as they did. On the flip side, you have to remember how important Robinson is to this organization, or at least was at one point and continues to be, right? They still know that he was their top prospect at one time. They still know he was one of the best prospects in all of baseball. So there's an investment on their part to stick by him and to support him. But it is great to see the team do this in baseball, because baseball tends to be one of those sports where teams just kind of move on. And sure, considering how long it took for him to get his legal issues cleared up and to be eligible to play baseball again in the United States, it is very great to see the Diamondbacks do that. And it's hopefully he can, it can pay off by him, reaching the major leagues one day.
Yeah, Michael says Robinson has Salt River Raptors written all over him. That would be cool, right? Yeah. That would be a little ambitious for this season, starting at low A. But hey, if he's able to move quickly and have a lot more games like he did tonight, maybe there's a way for Kristian Robinson to find his way up to Double A by the end of the season. And if he did that, it wouldn't be totally unreasonable to allow him to get some extra action in the fall league come October and November. So that would be a lot of fun, right? You just give us, so cool. You never have too much baseball, of course, especially here in Arizona. We basically have it year round. And Kristian Robinson would be a real treat to watch in those games. So that'd be pretty cool.
Other players to watch, Ryan Bliss continues to be a name that pops up and continues to be a name that just kills it for the Diamondbacks. He's doing great things for the Amarillo Sod Poodles right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is a guy that potentially comes on our radar next season.
Yeah. I don't think he's that far away. He's hitting 377 still in Amarillo. So you feel like a call up to AAA at least is not all that far away. And he is a incredible defender at second base. So the question with Ryan Bliss has always been about the hit tool and whether that would come around enough for him to make the big leagues and be able to hit enough to stay in the big leagues. But the defense is incredible. There was a video floating around the other day of a double play that Ryan Bliss and Jordan Lawler turned in a Sod Poodles game recently, and it was really incredible. He's incredibly rangy, has incredible hands. So having Ryan Bliss in the big leagues at some point would be, he would be another young guy for this fan base to rally around.
Well, we have a lot of fun, exciting prospects news to get to. We'll also have for you guys our power rankings, and I think that we're going to get that out a day early to you. So we'll have the power rankings on tomorrow's show, but let's take a look at the probables now for the rest of the series with the Colorado Rockies, because the Diamondbacks, honestly, they got through the two games that we thought they would have a good chance in, and they've at least guaranteed a series split in the final two games of the series. It would be nice to see them take not only a win here, but potentially a 4-game sweep, which would be their first sweep of the season.
Yeah, that's crazy. The D-backs are 9 games over 500, tied with the Braves, right, for the second best record in the National League, as we said before, and they still have somehow not swept anyone this season. It's going to be tough. A 4-game sweep is always pretty difficult, but Connor Siebold against Tommy Henry is what we're expecting tomorrow. I'm not totally sure if the Rockies have officially locked in a starter, so I think that might be sort of tentative on their end. I heard maybe Dinelson Lamet might be an option for them.
That's what I heard as well.
Yeah, I think that might be Lamet tomorrow. We'll see how the Rockies play things. And then on Thursday in the series finale, you've got Zach Davies on the bump against former Diamondbacks legend Chase Anderson, who's had a nice comeback for the Rockies in a few starts there so far. So yeah, this is a good opportunity for the D-backs. This Rockies team has been playing well lately, but it seems like maybe they were playing a little bit better than they're maybe capable of in the long run, and the D-backs are kind of balancing that out right now.
So we will be back here tomorrow at 1 p.m. to discuss some other things going on in the baseball world, including what's going on with a new sports site here in town that a lot of people are talking about potentially being a future home of the Coyotes. But Jesse and I still have some questions about the location and if the Coyotes are going to be the only team potentially playing there. So we'll see what happens. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
We also have some interesting news out of San Diego with the Padres TV situation.
The Bally situation just continues to get more and more messy.
It's happening, Derek. As of tomorrow, the San Diego Padres, their games are no longer broadcast on Bally Sports San Diego. Major League Baseball is stepping in and taking over, and it's something we've talked a lot about as a possibility for the D-backs in the not too distant future. So we'll dive into that a little bit tomorrow.
We'll see how that impacts the Arizona Diamondbacks as well. We have some information on that and why their deal with Bally hasn't fallen apart just yet. So join us tomorrow. But in the meantime, check out our friends over at Saturday Neon. You want to make your house look beautiful? You want your background and your podcast to pop? Check out our friends over at Saturday Neon. It's a company started by two friends who were former college roommates, and they make officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs. So whatever your alma mater is, whatever school you support, whether you're a diehard fan or just a casual supporter, you'll love the way these signs light up and look in your space. Make sure to check out Saturday Neon signs. They're made with high quality materials and are backed by a 2-year warranty. I have friends that have gotten neon signs from other places. They broke on shipment, Jesse, and they didn't even want to replace them upon breaking on shipment. Like, don't go with a company that's not going to have your back. And also, we talked about great Father's Day gifts. That makes a great Father's Day gift. So go to SaturdayNeon.com and use code PHNX for 10% off your order today. You'll also get free shipping for all orders over $200. So check out, again, Saturday Neon. And also, our friends at More Furniture, if you really want to splurge on Dad, get him a new recliner. Go big, get furniture. Get everything that you want for Dad for Father's Day over at morefurniture.com. Maybe pick yourself up something as well. You can have it delivered to Pop's house with their white glove delivery service, and I'm sure he's going to enjoy that surprise when delivery guys show up. He might be mad at first, but when they're bringing him a recliner, how mad is he going to stay? Let's be honest. So they helped us furnish our studios, and we love them over there at More Furniture. Save big on the best furniture in the Valley when you head to morefurniture.com. We thank you guys again so much for joining us. It's been a fun night here in the chat. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Damon Dog is at Damon DAWG.
We're barking again today. Derek is back.
Damon Dog. Of course, our show's at PHNX_Dbacks, and all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's been real. It's been fun. We thank you guys, of course, for joining us. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's more fun when every day is Galentine's Day.